how can one deal with parents being involved in their marriage without coming across rude? Being a newlywed, I'm finding a little hard dealing with my in-laws, mother-in-law. I love and respect her as my mother, but would want space and privacy without any issues. I don't know if there's something more.
I absolutely agree. Now, of course, subhanAllah, we should, the wife should try to respect and love the mother-in-law as much as possible, right? And that should go both ways, right? The husband should try to respect her mother and things of that sort, and her father. And understand that to mama, it's like now, you're taking her baby away. And the same thing for the father of the bride, right? There's sometimes, it's always contention between husband and father of the bride, and contention between the wife and the mother of the groom, right? It's always like that little clocking going on. The reason being is that because, honestly, they feel like something's being taken away and things of that sort. With that being said, I think it is, subhanAllah, it is absolutely important to have privacy and to have space. It's a right of the spouse to demand a dwelling of her own in Islam, by the way. From the shurut, or not from the shurut, but actually from the وَعَاشِرُهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ to live in a dignified life. Imam al-Qayyim rahimahullah included in that, by the way, when he was describing that, and in a space, for the woman to have for herself, having her own space. I understand that some cultures everyone moves in together. If everyone does move in, if everyone lives together, I don't personally recommend that, but I understand that some situations dictate that, right? Circumstances dictate that sometimes, especially with the financial crunch and those types of things. The wife does have a right to demand her space, okay? But, in order to make things work, and for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to make things work with the mother-in-law is something that would work very, very, very well. But sometimes I think you can ask, but don't drive him crazy, because sometimes the husband's caught in between, just like the wife is caught in between her father and her husband. Sometimes the husband's caught in between his mom and his wife, right? Each one demanding more and more and more and more. So, in Islam, the way that we look at it is that, always try to give more and understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will compensate you on the Day of Judgment. Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, and I'll give this analogy and it should answer a few more questions here inshallah. Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu, before he would go into his home, he'd pull out his comb, he'd start combing his hair, he'd start fixing his clothes and things of that sort. And some of the Sahaba were making fun of him, right? Think about how odd that is. Usually whenever you get in the house, it's like, pull it all off, put it on the rack, wear what's ironically in America, it's called a white beater. Do you guys call it a white beater too? The white undershirt and things of that sort. It's called a white beater in America, by the way. Lay on the couch and then start demanding things and stuff like that. It's like, whatever, there's no sense of beautifying yourself inside of the house. And just like, subhanAllah, on the other side sometimes, the woman too, it's like the guy is outside and he's seeing all these billboards and all of this glamour and things of that sort. He's supposed to be lowering his gaze, but he's probably not, unfortunately. Right? He's seeing all kinds of things, and he's seeing what's the ideal woman, and we all know what harm that's caused to society. Then he walks into his house, and his wife comes out with baggy PJs and cream all over her face. Like, where have you been? It's like, so giving more in the house. So what did Abdullah ibn Abbas say? He said that I like to beautify myself for my wife just as I like for her to beautify herself for me. And he said, on the Day of Judgment, he said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask everyone according to their rights. And he said, if there are two people, can you stand up so I can use you as an example? No, don't worry, no marriages. Okay, let's see. So basically what he said, this was the demonstration Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said. He said that there is a line of huquq. There is a line of rights, right? So the woman has her equal rights, and actually Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave to the woman, you're the woman in this case. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave to the woman her rights before the man. وَلَهُنَّ مِثْلُ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. And for them is just like that which is upon them according to al-ma'ruf, according to that which is established, right? So she has her rights, you have your rights. If everyone claims their rights completely, then they'll be completely at that line, and it's going to be a very, very uncomfortable situation. A lot of tension and things of that sort. Whenever you're done. Thank you. So, subhanAllah, so there would be a lot of tension if everyone is trying to claim all of their rights and step up to that line. You're going to be face to face, just like two boxers before they go at it or something like that, right? But said, if I do more than that which is upon me, and I do not claim all of my rights, because I understand that on the Day of Judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who compensates, then I know that I'll be safe in this dunya and the akhirah. Understanding if I give more and I take less, Allah is the one who's going to fill that gap. Right? So this might not be the most convenient situation, but this is half of my deen, and this is what if this will help increase me in Jannah, then fine. Then I'll do it inshaAllah ta'ala. So what I would say is that even, in a marriage, when you find that you're not being given everything that you should be given, go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and ask that the compensation is from Him. Right? But if it becomes dhulm and injustice, yes, at that point, you can claim your rights, of course, and those types of things. I'm not saying that if your husband hits you, no, you don't let that type of stuff go. Right? But I'm saying that, if you are nicer to him than he is to you, or you put in a little bit more effort than he puts in, or vice versa, then understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who compensates at the end of the day. Same question. Okay. I am helping a man revert into Islam for reasons he is clearly doing for himself, not for love as many people mistake it for. It is clear we both want a marriage, but is it wrong to marry for him and educate himself? Wait, is it clear? Oh, I'm sorry. Is it wrong to wait for him and educate himself before he is ready and not forced to take the shahada? I think it is wrong to pressure someone into the religion, as they will rebel and it will not come from themselves, but for myself. Okay? Is it bad in prolonging the relationship? There's several factors that come into this. Number one, I just recommend this, that if a person's interested in Islam, certainly, a brother might give da'wah to a sister, or a sister might give initial da'wah to a brother, but they should be referred, especially for extended conversations and things of that sort, to someone of the same gender. It's just a lot more healthier. I've seen this. We have MSA da'wah tables. MSA is like ISOC in America, Muslim Student Association. Right? We have MSA da'wah tables. And it's like the guys are hanging out and chilling, and they're not doing anything until a pretty girl walks by. And then all of a sudden, I'm doing da'wah. So, subhanAllah, it's like your da'wah, okay, what are you doing da'wah for, right? I'm not accusing the sister of bad intentions at all. What I'm saying is that I'll always say it's better to, if it's a woman, then it's better to refer her to a woman for prolonged conversation, right? For more depth, right? And vice versa. But with that being said, if a person, feels like he's ready to take shahada, then you should not push that person away, just as you should not force them into taking shahada. Right? There's two extremes. One of them is take shahada now or you're dead. Right? Take shahada now. And this is actually a true story that happened. And it's funny because I actually know the MSA that it happened in the United States, where someone came to an MSA gathering, and these were like some fresh students from overseas and stuff like that were sent by their government, whatever, to learn something. And they knew very little English and things of that sort. And a guy came to take shahada, right? And Sheikh Muhammad al-Alayfi told this story. It's funny, and I actually know where this happened. So whenever the guy took shahada, they pressured him into taking shahada right away. He was like, I want to do some more reading, things of that sort. They said, no, you got to take shahada, or else, you might die tonight and it's all over. Take shahada now. So he got pressured. He took shahada. The first thing they asked him is whether or not he was circumcised. And he was like, no. They're like, all right, we have to take you first thing in the morning to get circumcised. And he's like, whoa, I didn't sign up for this. So he leaves. So then he leaves Islam. And then they tell him that if you ever go to a Muslim country, you'll have your head chopped off. Right? So his response was, he's like, your religion is so barbaric that when I enter into it, something has to be chopped off. And when I leave it, something has to be chopped off. What is this religion? Right? So understanding where a person is at, bringing them along with mercy, understanding, la ikraha fi din, there's no compulsion in religion. And if this religion comes from themselves, without any factors and things of that sort, other than their love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then it's going to be, inshallah, a very fruitful and firm and stable relationship. But at the same time, some people do the opposite of that, the opposite extreme, where someone comes to take shahada and you go, are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. Are you really, really, really sure? All right? Because you don't want to do this, and then tomorrow, you scare the person away from taking shahada. Right? We would be happy when someone comes to take shahada. So in Islam, it's not that you learn how to pray, you learn how to fast, you make all the commitments, then you come take shahada 3-4 months later. Right? You take shahada, once you believe in La ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasulullah, and you acknowledge the perfection of Allah, the perfection of His message, manifest in His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Once you recognize the truth as truth, now I start building upon the shahada, not vice versa. You know, Imam Hassan al-Basri rahimahullah, he described, "Man qala la ilaha illallah mukhlisan fi qalbi dakhala al-jannah," that whoever says la ilaha illallah sincerely from his heart will enter paradise. So it's like a key with no teeth, right? And you take that key and you start to carve, you know, so that it can open certain doors. The key is la ilaha illallah. Then the pillars, then the practices, inshaAllah ta'ala, that makes the key what it is, you know, able to open, inshaAllah ta'ala, the gate of paradise, inshaAllah. So the point is that, you know, if the person is ready, don't say, well, I don't want, you know, I don't think you're ready and things of that sort. No, you're ready, alhamdulillah, as long as I'm not pressuring you into being ready. If you see that that person is good for marriage, inshaAllah ta'ala, later on, then you can wait. But, I mean, at the same time, if someone comes and asks for you, if you see someone who also fits the criteria of deen, who will be a better Muslim, inshaAllah ta'ala, a better husband, don't say, well, I already committed to this person. There's no commitment from you to that person. But if time goes on and you still haven't seen a spouse that's worthy, that you feel that you want to marry, then he's still available and he's become a pious Muslim and things of that sort, okay, fine. Then in that case, you can go ahead with that.
The top two, you can answer them together, Sheikh.
I already answered these two, didn't I? Can a sister delay marriage to continue her studies? Yes, she can. Okay, she can. But I don't think it's wise to delay it too long. That's the only thing, because that ends up being a problem usually later on. I don't think that you should turn down someone outright if someone comes to ask you while you're in your studies. So you can say to that person, look, I want to complete my studies. The first thing my wife told me, right, whenever I was asking for her, was like, look, I want to finish my degree. Do you have a problem with that? I was like, no, absolutely not. You know, I'll encourage you, I'll help you, inshaAllah ta'ala. So the best thing is to try to find a middle ground for those two. So for example, getting married but possibly delaying, you know, having children and things of that sort, that's something that's good, inshaAllah ta'ala. That's a way maybe you can compromise on these things, right? Find a husband that's at least supportive. You know, that's something that works. But if the sister wants to continue her studies, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
This one.
Okay.
Without mentioning any
Okay. Can I read it?
read it, but don't mention the name.
Okay. So now I'd like to get married. Please find me a wife. May Allah make it easy for you. Should I take any questions from you guys?
Any questions from the floor?
What if you do istikhara and for the woman is good, but for the man is bad? So you have two different things.
It's for the same thing, right? So if it's getting bad for one, then it's an answer to the istikhara for both. But if it was bad all along, right, and then you're praying istikhara and it continues at that same level of bad, that's not necessary. But what I'm saying is if a person prays istikhara and then obstacles start to come up and arise, then that person should take that as a no. Any other questions, sisters? Yes. You were the one who wanted to get married, wasn't you? No? What's your question?
Can you date before you get married?
Very good question. No. Whenever you're ready to get married, let me know. No, I'm serious. Huh? And let your dad know at the same time. Any other questions?
Sheikh, yeah.
Yes. Khalas. طيب. Inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. I really enjoyed my time with you. I appreciate everyone coming out. If I said anything wrong or offensive, please forgive me. It's from myself and from the shaitan. If I said anything good, alhamdulillah.